Hi, everyone. It's Amanda again. I hope you are all well. So I'm just going to keep going with the videos. I use Zoom to record them, and my son hates it, and he's the one that does all my editing. And it is what it is for now, till someday I learn something different. This is how it's going to be. So today I wanted to talk about codependency, what landed me in the space that I'm in life, and I'm very thankful for it, and what has allowed me to grow. And so I'm just going to kind of start again with some basics, and then, the videos can just be ongoing and endlessly cover topics. But codependency, right? We think of it kind of as a negative thing. Ooh, she's codependent. Ooh, they're doing this. But I don't think that when we're dealing with a loved one with addiction or acute mental illness, I think it's almost impossible to not become codependent to a degree. Some of us take it a little further than others. And some of the things that I'm going to go over in the video, they may apply to you, they may not. Some of the things that we'll be discussing ongoing, only you can decide what fits for you and what doesn't. But I create these with the intention of the more information that we know, the better we're able to kind of say, hey, I do that, or I identify with that, or I feel this way, or I have felt this way, especially when we're healing around addiction and alcoholism. That creates a lot of grays in the family and the dynamics, and trusting ourselves and trusting others. And so I'm going to hone in on it a lot. And I want y'all to be mindful that as I talk about this, I'm talking specifically from a perspective of an addiction somewhere in the family tree, whether it's a spouse, a child, a partner, a significant other, a sibling, a parent, that we're being impacted by this to varying degrees. So I'm going to do like I do. I'm going to define what we're talking about. Again, I'm not your therapist. I'm just sharing information. Yes, I'm clinically trained, but I am not acting as your therapist in these videos. And so there's lots of different definitions of codependency. They all kind of have the same genre, for lack of a better term. But I'm just going to point out a couple of them, and then we can kind of break it down a little bit more. So I would say that the grandmother of codependency, Melanie Beatty, and if I said that wrong, please forgive me. She says it's a person who lets another person's behavior determine their behavior. And so we're overly focused on creating an outcome in another, and therefore we adjust the situations to create the outcome we think is going to be the best for all involved. And we're neglecting our own needs. Our own needs are on the bottom of the totem pole on that. So for example, I have a 30-year-old kiddo who's in and out of addiction and in and out of jail. And I say, I'm not going to bail them out anymore because, you've jumped on the last couple of times and I can't afford it anymore. And it's not a feasible decision for me. And so phone rings. Hey, Mom, I'm in jail again. And we have this internal struggle saying, I'm not going to do it. I don't have the money. This didn't happen last time. But at the same time, we have this other voice saying, but God, I got to get him out of jail. It's going to be horrible to sleep there. They're going to not love me. They're not going to know that I love them. We've got all these kind of conflicting voices. It doesn't matter that the electricity might be cut off, or we don't buy groceries, or our own bills don't get paid, right? Our credit card bills go unpaid, or we didn't get new tires for the car, whatever the situation is. We end up taking that money and bailing them out of jail. So we've violated our own decision to ourselves, and then we've put ourselves in harm's way for the benefit of another person. So that could be one. These are just generic examples. Not everyone's going to look that way. And I'll continue to go through these as we go. So don't tune out just yet. Another definition is one whose thinking and behavior is organized around another person's substance use or life. And again, the codependent needs are on the low end of the spectrum. Again, we put another person first. So for example, I might be married to an alcoholic and he comes home ragingly drunk every night. And I put the kids to bed at 7 o'clock because he usually comes around 7:30, even though they're not tired, even though they're 10 years old, and that's an early bedtime for a 10-year-old. Not, if they're 2, that's appropriate. But it's because I'm trying not to make him mad, and I don't want to I don't want them getting in his way. And so I just put them to bed earlier. Now, I get there might be some smarts in that, but that's also codependent, right? We're only worried about the needs of one person, and their needs take precedent over everyone else. I understand that there's issues of domestic violence, and that's not what we're referring to. We're referring to these normal parameters of codependence, addiction, abuse, in the non-physical sense. If there's physical, that's a whole different conversation. Um, Another definition could be, sorry about that, I thought my phone was on quiet. It is Robert Shuby. He says it's a pattern of living, coping, and problem solving created by a set of dysfunctional rules within the family. And so I really love this one because you see it a lot. We never talked about parents' alcoholism growing up. And so we just learned to survive. And hey, nobody ever talked about what they felt or thought or dreams were, any of those things. And it doesn't matter, right? You got to focus, you got to do what you got to do, get out of your emotions, get out of your head. That's illogical. You're just a dreamer, all those kind of things. Again, we're still subjecting ourselves to patterns of thinking that are not for our highest good, but for another's highest being, I guess, even if it's not their highest being, but where their needs take precedent over ours. And so some of the ways this is going to look, right? I need my glasses to see sometimes. But, we can find ourselves with some of these things. And I'm going to make a video kind of on all these topics eventually, but I want us to kind of get an idea of what the codependency can look like, how it can present, and how it can pop up in our lives in ways that we're not sure of. So we say yes, we want to say no. We cannot take a compliment. We fear rejection. We take things very, very, very personal. We feel scared and hurt and angry all the time. We're overly responsible, right? We're managing the lives of everybody around us. Sometimes we become workaholics. We can manage life there. And so that's the one place that we're going to manage it. We're amazing pretenders. We pretend the circumstances aren't as bad as they are. We constantly apologize. Do y'all have friends for every time they drop something, sneeze, stub their own toe or apologizing? They don't trust their own feelings, right? We don't trust our own decisions. We certainly don't trust people, though we want to. And we put too much trust in people, even though deep down we're not trusting them. We feel a lot of guilt. Our decisions are constantly played over in our head that we could have done this, we should have done that. We feel good when we're helping people, right? Our self-worth comes from taking care of others. I hear a lot of people that I work with, and when I ask them what do they like, well, I like taking care of my family. But what do you like? Well, I like taking care of my family. And hey, I'm a mom. I like doing things for my kids as well. But I also like doing fun things with my friends. I like kayaking. I like this and I like that. And that has nothing to do with the people around me. These are the things that I carve out time for myself to do. There's constant worry. There is a deep-rooted belief that we don't deserve anything good. And we can go on and on. I kind of brought some of them up when I was explaining the different, definitions. And it all kind of looks different for everyone. There's not, these identical situations. So I want you to just kind of look at where, yeah, I feel this way, and yeah, I feel that way. And okay, I've got, close addiction to me, or I've got addiction close to me. I grew up with it, or I'm married to it, or however it's going to look, or I've never experienced it at all, and here it is in my kid, and am I becoming codependent? because we enable too in our codependency. And it's really important that we learn those things. And those will be videos, coming down the road as well. We stay in situations where we're not cared for. We're a lot of times very abused in varying degrees of all the types of abuse. We begin to believe we deserve the abuse. For some of us, it's a very spiritual lesson of, God's abandoned me, or God's angry with me, whatever that version of your higher power is, And so um, I want to get started on this stuff. I want us to be able to create a dialogue around it. If you have questions, or if you have things that you'd like to kind of specifically hear about, discuss, put them in the group. I hope you're enjoying this. And I hope more than anything that I'm going to be able to help you become aware, so that way you can begin to create happiness for yourself. And this is not being said that we don't want to not care for the people that we love, but not at the expense of ourselves. There is absolutely a way for both people's needs to be met, and there still be love, and there still be a relationship. So please subscribe to the channel to keep up with the videos. Recovery for the Rest of Us. There is the Facebook group, Recovery for the Rest of Us, and there is the page and the Instagram, Recovery for the Rest of Us. I hope you have a great day. Again, this is not therapeutic advice. This is just information. And have a great week.